3M de 3 capas y finish. Bentwood aprobado. Te garantizamos pasar inspección. Llámanos al 346-971-1030. Quality Welding Service, tu mejor opción.
Broadcasting from Now Media Network's headquarters in Houston, this is Purple Politics, hosted by political expert and commentator Alina Gonzalez-Dockery. Join us to discuss the most important issues affecting our nation with fresh, balanced, and objective discussion on the first bilingual media network in the United States. Purple Politics starts right now.
Good evening, and welcome to another episode of Purple Politics. I am your hostess, Alina Gonzalez-Dockery, and I am joined by Dr. Alon Barak, citizen resident of Israel, retired Messianic rabbi and pastor. Dr. Alon, thank you so much for joining me. I have been very blessed, so the viewers know, I was very blessed to get to talk to Dr. Alon, last week, and to me, to get that insight of what it is to be in Israel during this time of war, when the reality is we here at the United States are very, very fortunate in that we are very isolated in many ways because we have two oceans on each side of us, and we have Canada to the north of us and Mexico, that we do not have these terrorists just knocking on our door or constantly a threat. So thank you so much, Dr. Barak, for joining me on today's episode. How are things there in Israel since Hamas declared or initiated this horrific war against Israel?
Thank you, Alina. I'm honored to be on your program. I appreciate where you are, and I'll use the expression, you are right. Okay. We in Israel are very much together in the battle because we see this as a battle to save our nation. The fanatical Muslims that are known by ISIS or Hezbollah or Hamas or other terms are all in that small minority of Muslims that want to eradicate all of the Jews and all of the Christians from this land. So we obviously see this in a religious zone. That's what it's all about. They are going to kick all of us out of this land. They want it all, as they do England and the United States. They have international appetite. And we are kind of the point of the spear, and they've come to us, and basically we are all united in saying, hell no, you don't get Israel. We're not giving it to you. We're going to fight you. We're not going to let what you did on October the 7th stop us from eradicating the cancer that you represent inside Israel. And this battle that we have with you is not about just trying to recover our captives. It's not about that at all. It's about eradicating your desire to dominate and take over all of the nation of Israel and the rest of the world. No, we're going to stop you, and we're going to stop you right here.
Well, and I think it's important to point out that the leader of Hamas on news was proudly stating that October 7th, they will continue and grow on October 7th. So there will be another October 7th and another October 7th, another October 7th, where let's remind the viewers, because unfortunately, I feel like sometimes we are a little bit ADHD. Like it's like, oh, it's been 2 months since October 7th, that, that horrific attack that occurred on October 7th, we are talking 1,200 people, mostly innocent families, children, women, men that were waking up on a day after a high holy holiday, and or were dancing, at a peace festival, music festival, were slaughtered. Women were, I don't even know if rape is the right word for it, but
May I help you? May I help you for a minute on that?
it's just so
Please
disgusting what
understand.
happened. I think it's
Yeah.
hard to put
Please
it words to it.
understand that all these atrocities that took place, these were planned.
Mm-hmm.
These weren't done on the spur of the moment. They were told, we want you to take some small babies and put them in ovens and turn it on high and let them find just the crumbs left over from the ashes. We want you to cut heads off of babies. We want you not only to rape the women, but we want you to brutally massacre their bodies. So we have found these women with many parts of their bodies missing, and I don't have to be more dramatic than that.
Well,
And
it
then
was mutilation.
We want you to take captives. We want you to steal old people, steal babies, steal children, because we have power when we have captives. So this plan that had been in the works for years, and we knew it, was going to be a coordination supposedly with from the east, west, north, and south. It didn't happen that way. For whatever reason, Gaza, Hamas went first, and fortunately, we've been keeping Hezbollah out. However, I sent you a picture of what Hezbollah did in my backyard yesterday. I don't know if you have that.
I do, and I believe the producer is going to be showing our audience this. I mean, it is
they're sending
unbelievable,
the
missile strikes and such that I'm looking.
They're sending to Jerusalem, all over the land. They're aiming. What are they aiming for? Our military bases? No, civilian centers. This is the fear, the radicalism that they can bring us down by scaring us and scaring the world and bringing fear. And we're going to have pressure to stop fighting them. That's what they want. And that's where Biden and a lot of the liberal people are. Yeah, we have to stop the war. Too many innocents are dying. Excuse me. They have no care for innocents. They could care less about that. They don't even care about their own people. They will actually put civilians where their army is in hopes to protect them from shooting missiles, because we can't take out the missiles because they got civilians there. That's the way they play the game. Now we are determined all the cancer needs to come out of the body. I shared this with you before we went on air. A woman who has cancer, and the doctor says, you'd be happy to know I took half of it out. She ain't happy. Mm-hmm. She's going to die. We don't want this cancer left in us. We want to destroy this anti-Christian, anti-Jew mindset here in the land of Israel. And we're going to. And our soldiers, their mind, their heart, their bodies are centered on that. And some of them are dying. And it's all right, because they know they're dying for a great cause. They cannot allow this radical Muslim, and some Muslims say that it's actually a distraction from their real core of their faith. But whatever it is, they can't do anything about it. Because what happened on October the 7th was celebrated in the Muslim communities in Israel. Even if they didn't agree with it, they were celebrated. They had to come together because they're going to get rid of the Jews, the Christians, and take over the whole land. That's the battle.
Well, and I think it's important to reiterate that the leadership of Hamas not only stated that they will continue to do October 7th type of attacks and mutilations and such, but then they promised that once they annihilate and wipe off Israel from the face of this earth, and we're talking all of the people, I understand that there are, certain Muslim communities were celebrating what was occurring, but I also know that IDF is comprised of Christians, Muslims, and Jews that are loyal and citizens and have equal rights in Israel. I have friends and clients that are of Muslim faith that were born and raised in Jerusalem, and their family members are mortified by the atrocities, but also
Yes.
they are in mortal danger as well because they are seen as infidels because they are contrary to what Hamas believes. And Hamas isn't going to stop here. And they promised that. They have already stated that once they eradicate Israel off the face of the earth, they're going to go after and reclaim Spain and reclaim Italy, and then go forward until they go for I guess, the crowning point, which is the United States. In stating all of that, I think it's just so amazing. And I think the people and I'm hoping my viewers really this resonates with them. The sense of unity. I liken it to when we had our 9/11, that terrorist attack on 9/11. On September 12th, our country was probably more unified than it ever has been, at least in recent history in the past 100 years. And unfortunately, that was a very short term unification because we are so divided now. And that's what we keep seeing in the news. And of course, mainstream news media seems, I call it the monarchy of fear. They want us to be fearful. They want us to continue to be divided because in a divided country, then we are weaker. And I find that you all in Israel, regardless of the religious background, regardless of what nationality you are, the Israelis are bonded and in unison in one voice. And that voice is, we are here to stay, and we will fight until we have, like you said, we have eradicated this cancer of hate and annihilation. Dr. Barak, I have to take a quick commercial break. We're going to be joining back with you. I am, like I said, I'm just so honored to have you for the full hour of our show. And I want to go into more details so our viewers get the truth of what is happening in Israel. So stay tuned. Come back to us right after this quick commercial break. Thank you.
Do you have a car sitting around you want to get rid of? Well, here's a great idea. Donate your car now to help local veterans in your area. Yes, just make one fast call to the Veteran Car Donation Program. Within a few days, we'll come and remove your car for free. You can donate any car in any condition. We'll use our vast network to sell it. The proceeds raised go to help local veterans and their families. And you get a tax deduction. And all you need to do is make this free call. Clean your yard up, get rid of an old car, and help the vets. We make it easy. Make this free call now. Book your fast and easy pickup. Call the Veteran Car Donation Program now.
We are back, and we are joined by Dr. Alon Barak, Israeli, and a gracious guest of ours who is telling us the realities of what is happening in Israel. And let's remember, this is a nation that's the size of New Jersey. For those of us that need a geographical or at least a measurement in a way of picturing, this is a very small territory or country and surrounded by Muslim countries. And Dr. Barak, thank you again for appearing. Let's talk about, you shared with us the story of an IDF soldier who died in battle during this war against Hamas, Uriah Bayer. Can you just share with us what the spirit of the nation was when they were doing this funeral for this great soldier?
Yes, it was a unique funeral. Um, my lawyer, my attorney from Haifa, and his family were very close to this family of Uriah because there was a marital, I think cousins or something relationship there, and so they went to the funeral, and it may have been the largest funeral that they had ever been to with a soldier. When soldiers die, everyone in the neighborhood in the area go to the funerals. I've been to those from the north that have died. I've been to their service. We all gather. But to have thousands come made it unique. And what made it really special is that Uriah himself was such a special soldier. His family had 4 children. All 4 of them served in the IDF. Uri was the youngest, and he was a soldier. He was powerful. He was 20 and he became a sergeant. He was strong, he was bold, he was positive, he was encouraging. Men followed him. And the comments made by his peers and by his commanders was awesome. They had a loudspeaker system so that everybody could hear. And then the mama spoke. And when the mother spoke about her son, she said some amazing things. Like, she said, he made sure that if he was taken captive, there would never be a exchange of a killer for him. He said, I don't want to go free so that a killer goes free and kills another Jew. He was a Christian. The entire family are not even Israeli. Because they were Christians, they did not qualify for Israeli citizenship. They are what it's called is a permanent resident. And the grandparents came from Germany because of the Holocaust to make a home, a retirement home for Holocaust survivors and their families. They gave their life to bless Jewish people. And in all of the fighting and the wars that the older ones have been through, they all said the same thing. Our life is not more important than the life of Jewish people. And we're willing to put our life on the line to save this land of Israel. Now, being Christians, very little Christianity comes out in a service. Mm-hmm. But they gave the mother the microphone to be the spokesperson for the family. And what she said, Marvin said he'd never heard in his whole life something said like this and the response. Because you've got to understand, there were Jews and there were Arabs and agnostic and everything else there. And here's where we go. She said, my son believed that Jesus Christ was the Jewish Messiah. And he gave his life for this nation. I am willing to give my life for this nation too. I'm not worried at all. I'm going to be with him. Mm-hmm. When she said that, thousands of people started applauding. Jews, Druze, Muslims, atheists, agnostic, all the group were applauding what she said. We were coming together. We are together in this war. And in many ways, and the reason I have this picture is because I made like 50 of them. And when I have guests come to my home, I say, here is what we would call a martyr. He gave his life willingly and knowingly that Israel would be the nation that God called it to be. And no one's going to destroy Israel. No one's going to destroy the Jewish people. And no one's going to destroy the Christian faith. And everyone agreed on that. It was magnificent.
That is. And for the outpouring, to have thousands of people there in support of the family, but also to celebrate a young hero's life. Because I know I am very much a supporter of our military. I have great friends that have served our country here in the United States. And it is something to be regaled because he did sacrifice his life and he didn't question, especially one so young. I mean, we're talking they're the equivalent
20.
of a college student, saying, I am here to fight for my country. And it didn't matter whether he was a citizen or not. This was his homeland, this was his people, this was his country, and this was his path. I mean, and this was his dream. Um, and I think people have to remember because, especially with the way the media has been, they're always showing what's happening, the destruction in Gaza. And of course, our hearts go out to the young children and the families, those that are innocent. And the sadness is that the Hamas leadership had point blank said, those are not our concern. The people of Gaza, those Palestinians are not our concern. They're refugees. That's the UN's problem. We only have one focus, and that one focus is to eradicate Israel, to eradicate Jews, to eradicate the Christians there, and then go elsewhere. And I think that's something that needs to be pointed out constantly, but if not, shouted on top of the rooftops and the mountaintops that Hamas has no regard whatsoever for the human life, the toll that is happening in Gaza. Because if they did, the people of Gaza would not be so impoverished from years. I mean, when Israel, vacated the Gazan lands and left beautiful, vineyards and houses and everything, and they left that, and I believe it was, and you can correct me, around 2006 or 2005, they let those lands going, here you go. You have a potential of beautiful land that you can make it into the Singapore of the West. You have beautiful ports and beaches and such. And what ended up happening, despite decades of international funds, to include the United States sending billions of dollars to Gaza, a very small little area of land, the leadership of Hamas took those water pipes and made them into missiles and launchers. They took those monies to funnel it into their terrorist organization. And what was left? The poor people there suffering, starving
Alina,
and impoverished.
if I can embellish what you said,
Yes.
that when we went to war in Gaza, we could have done it quickly, and we did not have to lose as many lives as we have lost and are losing, because we could have gone in with all their tunnels and everything else, and say, okay, you've got 24 hours to get out of this area because we're going to destroy it. And we did that. And the problem is Hamas would not allow the people to leave. No, where they're fighting, they want to keep the people. Therefore, we were afraid to send our aircraft in and our missiles from both the ships as well as the tanks and the armaments on the ground. We could have destroyed it and not have to go house to house to house and lose our IDF. We could have done it quickly. It could have been done in a week. Instead, we are sensitive to the civilians that are there, and we're trying to go in a different direction, which is costing us lives. It could have been done quickly, and it could have been done, but the image of us bombing men, women, and children that ISIS, the same as Hezbollah, forced to remain there would have been terrible. So we are basically held back in our war by the United States, Biden, and other countries. And the worst of all is the United Nations. We now know that those UN camps were filled with armaments. And we also know that the people who were running the International Red Cross, they were all Hamas people. And they were doing evil things before we ever got there. A lot of evil. the whole thing needs to be leveled because it's a mess. What they did with the land they got, what they have there now is just trash. It's got to be destroyed, and those people are not going to come back and have another bite at the apple.
And I think that's what people have to hear, because they have to remember internationally after 9/11, everybody unified and said, United States, you do whatever it is that you need to do to eradicate Al Qaeda so that this will never happen. And imagine in per capita person, October 7th was a much huge event than even what we lost because of the amount of people, if you were to compare it. But we, the United States, nobody was going to hold us back. Nobody had us out, a choker collar around our neck saying, oh, no, you can't do that. They said, whatever you need to do, we're behind you. And that is what we have to continue to remember, that this is vital. This is not only for retribution. This was a war initiated by Hamas, and this is for the survival of a nation, of a people. And we are going to come back with Dr. Barak, and we're going to discuss what is the emotions and the physical toll this war is having on the Israeli people. So stay tuned and come back after this commercial break.
Are you nearly maxed out on your credit cards? It doesn't matter if you're using your credit cards for fun or to survive. At the end of the month, your statements come in, and you can either pay them or you can't. If you can't, late fees and interest rates get tacked on. And now you're struggling just to make the minimum payment due. Do you feel trapped? Am I talking to you? Good, because I personally researched some companies that can help you. They may be able to reduce your credit card balances by 50% and stop the late fees. If you qualify, please call our special debt hotline number right now for a complimentary free 5-minute consultation. Deal with your credit card problem now before it gets much worse and put more money back in your pocket. Trust me, I've been there too. Call right now.
Call 855-993-2096 right now. That's 855-993-2096.
Hi, folks. Robert Quigley here, America's Independent, Washington, D.C. We're on the road to the White House. Today, it's international relations, where I have 10 years of living and working experience. Biden's knee-jerk reactions and World War III. Within hours of the conflict, Biden was sending more warships to Israel. Hamas and the Middle Eastern destitutes can't be eliminated with war. They are humans suffering. Huge resources committed to the Ukraine and the Russian war, Chinese aggression in the Western Pacific, North Korea living in fear of nuclear annihilation. Our enemies around the world seek to draw us into regional conflicts to weaken our military. Quigley supports deep, sustainable engagement with all parties when possible. Food and sustainable prosperity prevents war. Go to robertquigleyforpresident.com, donate what you can, join Team America, and together we will make it work for all of us.
Paid for and approved by the Robert Quigley for President campaign.
Welcome back. We are joined with Dr. Alon Barak, Israeli citizen, retired Messianic rabbi and pastor, and he's giving us, grounds point of view of what it is to be living in a country that is at war, but also who has suffered. I mean, let's remember, Israel is the victim here. They're the ones who have been suffering countless attacks for the past 70 years since the British Accords. So, Dr. Barak, what is the emotions or the feelings of the people of Israel as it's now going on over 2 months since this horrific attack and initiation of war by Hamas?
Okay. First of all, your listeners are going to be surprised to hear me say that there is a great amount of unity between the Arabs and the Christians and the Jews over what should happen. All of us want this evil, anti-Israel, anti-Christian, anti-Jew thing out of the land. We all do. The Arabs that live in the Arab villages they can't get rid of it. If they do, they're dead. It is something we have to do, and they are applauding what the IDF is doing to Hamas. And the sentiment is, okay, those Arabs living in Arab villages, living in Israel, as well as Gaza, that want to identify with the killing of Jews and Christians and removing them from the land, that mindset is those people need to go and live in supporting nations, whether it be Iraq or it be Iran or it be any of the Turkey, any of the nations that are supporting Hamas, go there. Get out of here. There's other Muslim nations you can go to. You're not staying here in the land. That's the cleansing that everyone's agreeing to. Now, are you going to allow us to do it? Politically, will the world allow us to do that? And if we are set on that, then we're going to get all the cancer out of the body. And if we're not successful and we have cancer in the body, guess what? We aren't healed. There's no option. And everyone's on that mindset. And that's the question everyone's asking. It doesn't matter if you're an Arab in an Arab village or a Christian in a Christian community or a Jew living where I live in Odness. They're all asking the same questions. Are we going to be able to stand together and get rid of the cancer? All of it. We want to. That's our goal, that's our hope, and that's our prayer.
Well, and as a goal, I mean, it's just for people to realize that was the goal for us to eliminate ISIS and to wipe it off the earth, was because of the horrific organization that it was and the atrocities they occurred. Hamas is equivalent to ISIS. And the people of Israel, and I say the people of Israel because, yes, this is an attack. It is a focus on the Jews, but Israel is made up of such a bountiful, really a cornucopia of different peoples and backgrounds that this is something that has to be done, because if you were to stop now, and I agree with you, the bigger question is, will the international community continue to back Israel? And one of the things that I always find, I'm mortified, really, about how even for within, the United States, looking at our president, who, when October 7th occurred, he came out very strongly. And I was like, yes, our president is speaking correctly. He's speaking sternly. He knows this is wrong. And he stated it was an evil. It is an evil. And that is what you are fighting, an evil. And people have to also realize that this isn't just a one time.
If I can add, while we're talking about Biden.
Yeah.
I want you to know that Obama did not get rid of ISIS. He basically said you can't get rid of ISIS. Trump came in and got rid of ISIS. Right now, Obama is equivocating. He does not want us to destroy all of Hamas. In fact, he wants Hamas and the PLO to have a nation within our nation. And the people of Israel say, that's crazy. We need Trump back in. And Israel knows that if Trump was president now, this would not have happened. It happened because the Obama-Biden love for the Muslims and their nations and giving Iran all these billions of dollars and so forth. Israel saying, he's really not on our side.
Well, and it really is like for me, I mean, as a woman, I keep questioning why the hell aren't the voices of feminist organizations internationally coming out and denouncing the atrocities, the mutilations, the horrific rapes against women, and also where are those people who are always saying protect the children when you have children that were decapitated, burned, which is to be equivalent to the gas chambers in the ovens of Holocaust times. And it took 57 days for the Organization of Women at the United Nations to finally make a statement. And we're talking a statement, not, slamming the desk, saying this is absolutely wrong. This is a detestable act by Hamas and those that were on its behalf, or even those that followed along. No, they were like, oh yeah, this is wrong. And to me, I think that, and to many Americans, it has been very eye-opening, because the reality is that if you go beyond what is at the mainstream media point, and if you go a little bit deeper and you actually talk to the neighbors, and like you say, you talk to your neighbors all the time there in the community, and when you travel to go to other cities for doctor's appointments, we talk to other people, and we were like, this can't happen, because I think Robert F. Kennedy, I don't know if you saw this, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Was questioned about it. And he stated, he gave a great analogy. He was like, let's take, for instance, it was Mexico that attacked the United States in the same manner that Hamas attacked Israel on October 7th. He goes, there would be no stopping us. This would be an act of war. There is no difference than what occurred to the United States on September 11th. And we went to war, to what occurred there. But the bigger point that I want to reiterate, and I know I'm repeating myself, is that this has been a continuous fight for the survival of Israel for 70 years. And this is an organization that will not stop unless it is completely eradicated. And I'm just curious, what is, have you heard what the vision is for the people, for the innocent non-Hamas people of Gaza, the Palestinians there? What is the hope by Israelis that will occur after eradicating and removing this cancer?
Well, the problem, of course, is that the Hamas the Gaza people elected Hamas knowing who they were. That's problematic. Why people knowing, and let me talk about who they are. These are not people that are normal husband-wife relationships. These are people whose wife is like a piece of furniture, and they can do with that piece of furniture whatever they want. And that kind of bondage that women are in the Arab Muslim world is offensive to a lot of Arab Muslim women and families. But it's a culture. How do you get out of that culture? And the answer is come to Israel. Well, now that they're here, whoops, they're not quite out of it, because it's here too. So these people would live comfortable, healthy, normal. We want that. But we've got to get that element out that is fanatic, that is evil, and that is dangerous to women. It's dangerous to women. What, even in England, what they're doing with women is dangerous, where Muslims are raping non-Muslims girls, and it's okay because they're not Muslims, and they have Sharia law, and they find them not guilty because they weren't Muslims. Therefore, you can rape someone who's not a Muslim. That whole fanatical mindset is so strange to people in the United States. They can't relate to it. It's like, that must come from the dark days somewhere. No, it's right here, and it's in Michigan, It's in the United States. And they are so happy that Michigan is now taking and changing their flag to reflect a Muslim flag. They are winning. Their whole mindset is they are winning, and they got to keep strong. And what do we say in Israel? No, we're the point of the spear. We're going to stop you right here. You're not going to make it here, and you're not going to make it in Europe, and you're not going to make it in the United States. The question is, will the world fight back on this? And from what I'm seeing in Washington, D.C., not everybody wants to stop them.
And that's the fear. And that is the concern, because the unfortunate happenstance that we're in a presidential election term and Biden's running for re-election. And you can see where he's backpedaling. I mean, it's like, look at a Looney Tunes cartoon, and he's literally doing the backpedal because he's afraid that he's going to lose a vital block of votes. And this isn't about politics. This isn't about, at least in my opinion, this is common sense. This is common sense in that we must unify behind Israel to ensure that the world population is safe from fanatical, extremist, terrorist organizations and beliefs. And you are absolutely right. Women are treated as chattel. And for those young women in the United States watching this show, it wasn't too long ago that you and I, women, were chattel. It wasn't until the 20s that we were allowed to own property. And it wasn't until the 70s that we were allowed to go to colleges and had equal rights to scholarships. This is important for young women to realize. And I especially am pointing to you, those that are in college right now and that are at the Gen Z era. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we're going to return with Dr. Barak, and then we're going to talk about hope. So stay tuned.
What if this happened to you when you're alone? Or what if it happened here? With MedGuard Alert, you're never alone. You can connect with medical professionals anywhere, anytime. And now MedGuard is introducing our exclusive new CareWatch. If you need help quickly, use it from anywhere to contact medical professionals. No cell phone required. The CareWatch is not only a life-saving medical alert device, it's a revolutionary health monitoring system that checks your blood pressure, heart rate, oxygen saturation, and much more. And here's the best part. If you have Medicaid, you may qualify to get your CareWatch for free. The CareWatch is only available through MedGuard Alert. Call us right now. We have monitoring programs starting as low as $1 a day. The call is free, activation is free, shipping is free, and no contract is required. Remember, with Medicaid, you may qualify to get your CareWatch for free. Don't wait. Call us to get your CareWatch right now. Operators are standing by.
Hi, folks. Robert Quigley here, America's Independent, Washington, D.C. We're on the road to the White House. Today, it's Common Sense Solutions. Millions walk around every day with a voice inside their head that says, the system is making my life difficult. Government's job is to serve, support, and back up the needs of all Americans. For decades, we have lived, we've been held hostage by the tyranny of the law. Laws are like paper cuts. Too many and we die. Together, we will repeal thousands of pointless, oppressive laws. Compassion, collaboration, and common sense solutions guide our team. A government reset is needed. What is the price? Your vote. A few dollars. Go to robertquigleyforpresident.com. Find the donor box button. Donate your tips or whatever you can. Team America needs you. Together, we will make America work for everybody.
Paid for and approved by the Robert Quigley for President campaign.
If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. By wearing a small device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers right away. If you use insulin daily, you might be eligible to get your own continuous glucose monitor. So call the US Med Diabetic Health Hotline today and learn about the latest CGM technology. Not only can a CGM immediately reduce pain, it's accurate, easy to use, and helps you make better diabetes treatment decisions. And if you have Medicare or private insurance, you can see if you qualify for a CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. We'll also provide free shipping of your new CGM, and we'll bill your insurance company for you. If you use insulin daily, you might be eligible to get your own continuous glucose monitor. So call the US Med Diabetic Health Hotline to see if you qualify for a CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost.
Welcome back. I am joined by Dr. Alan Barak from Israel, and we are discussing the war that Hamas initiated and what has been occurring. But now we want to turn to the hope of the Israeli people in what to see when, not if, when a cancer that is Hamas, that is an evil that wishes to eradicate this nation, eradicate and slaughter the people, when that cancer is finally expelled, what is the hope of the people of Israel post this Hamas war?
Well, I'll tell you, I'm so glad you popped that issue, because when I travel, I don't have time to listen. I don't watch television at all. I have zero time with the war effort. Everyone's spending at least 12 hours a day helping, doing things like I take food to the soldiers and so on. But I take my iPad with me and I listen to the news. And I got so excited when I saw in Washington, D.C., they were actually arresting in the Capitol Rotunda these pro-Hamas demonstrators that were illegal, but they were in your face. And we stopped them. We arrested them. We did something. When we see Europe doing things, United States doing things, that gives Israel the encouragement. Go ahead. Yes, get rid of the cancer. We're all going to stand together. We're not going to let them win.
Well, and here's an interesting thing. So, and a lot of it is because of social media. I truly believe, because I look at what's on TikTok and X, which was formerly Twitter and such, but I think it's even more so in TikTok, that you had the war of the media. Hamas had been winning. If you were to look at what was being put out on social media, and the lies and, just the misunderstandings, I think, of younger people, not knowing the true history of what's happening. But what I find to be incredulous is that this is no longer at least the way that they're painting it. And this is why I say I think in the war of media, Hamas may be winning this. The scale's definitely tipping in their favor, because kids nowadays, they don't see this as an attack on Jews. They don't see this as an attack on trying to annihilate a country. They now see this, that Israel are the colonizers. Israel are the white supremacists. Ironically, not all Israel, a very small percentage of Israel is Caucasian, white, but they actually see this as a war of race, that it's white supremacists versus brown people. And it kind of blows, it doesn't kind of, it just absolutely infuriates me to see the lack of education to these young people. And that's why I think it's so important that we here on alternative media sources bring out the truth. This is not a colonization. This isn't, colonizers trying to defeat a people, or whites against blacks or browns. This is literally the birthplace of the Jews. Since the beginning of time, this was Judea. And
I find it ironic that people say we're colonizing when we're surrounded with 40 Muslim nations with all kinds of land and oil and every kind of embellishment. And here we are, this, like you said, the size of New Jersey, right in the middle, and we're colonizing. we're barely here.
Well, and in previous wars, like when Golda Meir, who I still idolize, I mean, honestly, since I learned about her when I was younger, but we're talking about even when there were the mass wars, when all of the countries surrounding Israel came to attack at once, and miraculously Israel won those wars. That even as part of the peace treaties with Egypt, with Jordan stuff, they're like, we're going to give you back your land that we won. No other country does that.
I want to use your word miraculous, because we are seeing miracles here in this war. And I'll tell you two of them that are just amazing. One of them is we went into a tunnel, into a building, and it was dark. It was like a narrow tunnel, and we saw a white dove come and right in front of our men stop. It stopped right in front of us. And everyone stopped and they're looking at this like, what is this, a monster that they made or something, And no, it's a real bird. And then the commander said, wait a minute, what's it sitting on? It was sitting on a wire that ran from one side to the other. It was a tripwire. When they realized that, they left the building. Our demolition people went in there and they said, you have no idea what we found. There was enough stuff in there to bring down both of the buildings. Yeah. A soldier had a gun and he's shooting it and it ran out of ammo. So he grabbed another gun and he shot and he shot and he shot and he shot. And it was the other way around. And he shot and it worked fine. So then when he had a break and he looked at it, the gun was a piece of junk. But it worked when it needed to.
And those are the miracles.
This thing saved my life.
And I mean, I'm definitely one that will say there are miracles and that there are blessings. I believe that we witness many miracles, and what we continue to do in my family, and as I've related to you, we are what I call we are a blended family, Catholic. I'm Catholic, upbringing such, and my partner's Jewish, and we make it work. It's a celebration of each other and love. And one of the things that we always say, and I think this is going back to Yuri's funeral, what you saw there were, yes, there was mourning. Yes, there is sadness because it's a young life that was snuffed too early. And for what? Because of a seditious, horrific organization and that started this. But also it was a triumphant celebration of someone's life who lived his dream, who wanted to give to this country and to this nation, and his true belief in his faith, not only his faith in his Lord, but his faith in what he was doing was for the right cause, that he was on the side of good. And that is where I feel uplifted in my heart to see the hope and really the love that the people of Israel, as you've been sharing with me, have in their hearts and what is truth. And as we're wrapping up our edition today, and what message would you like to give to my viewers?
Well, there is nothing that Israel wants more from the American people than their prayers. And if they want to help the war effort, there are a lot of organizations. There's one in Texas that I recommend. It's 365 Israel News, or 365 Israel. But there are a lot of organizations. Be a part of it. Don't just sit there and say, well, nothing I can do. Oh, yes, you can. We are seeing so many wonderful things happen that I'm a part of, and I'm just one old guy. But we're helping soldiers with warm equipment. Winter's coming on. Tomorrow morning, I'm getting out at 7 o'clock, driving to the south end of the lake and picking up We feed 3,000 soldiers that are not in camps, that are just scattered in these boot camps all over in orchards and different things in the Lebanon area. And this on our side. And I'm picking up our portion of these hot meals, bringing it to Hodness, and then the soldiers are coming here from the field and picking them up. All of us are doing something. We're all working on this. So if you want to come to Israel and volunteer, we've got people doing that. But do something. Don't just say, well, I prayed a little prayer. Appreciate that. But now what are you doing? Do something.
Oh, and I think another thing that we can do is continue to combat the misinformation that is out there and shine the truth. And historically, the history shows what the truth is. Dr. Barak, thank you so much. Alan, shalom. May peace be brought to you quickly. I want to thank you so much for the honor of having you back on my show and being able to speak with you. For my viewers, this is a serious issue. We all have to take our part, but more importantly, what we can continue to do is, just as we value our freedom, we value our nation, we value what we have here in the rights that we have in our Constitution, we must continue to voice that importance of the freedom of Israel, because what is happening internationally is a wavering of faith, but it is also an opportunity to stand up, voice what is right, stating that the people of Israel have a right to their autonomy. They have a right to be a nation. They have a right to be able to live safely, for their children to be able to go to school and not worry if they have to run into a bomb shelter. We here in the United States are very spoiled. We are very blessed and spoiled because we do not have bombs raining on us on a daily occurrence. Because what is not being reported is the thousands upon thousands of missiles that are being launched from Gaza and from Hezbollah in the north onto the Jewish settlements and the Christian settlements and of the residential areas. So I am Alina Gonzalez Dockery. Yes, I am the hostess of Purple Politics, and I am proudly a supporter of Israel. And if that makes me a Zionist, paint that on me. I wish.
Thank you, Alina. Thank you.
I wish all of you a very Merry Christmas as we're going into our Christmas season here and Christmas Eve. And to you, Dr. Barak, thank you. Merry Christmas. And I hope to be talking to you very soon.
Thank you very much. Toda Rabah.
Bye-bye.
This has been a Now Media Networks feature presentation. All rights reserved.
Attention timeshare owners. This is an urgent consumer alert from the Timeshare Exit Hotline, a national company specializing in helping consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
Do you have a car sitting around you want to get rid of? Well, here's a great idea. Donate your car now to help local veterans in your area. Yes, just make one fast call to the Veteran Car Donation Program. Within a few days, we'll come and remove your car for free. You can donate any car in any condition. We'll use our vast network to sell it. The proceeds raised go to help local veterans and their families. And you get a tax deduction. And all you need to do is make this free call. Clean your yard up, get rid of an old car, and help the vets. We make it easy. Make this free call now. Book your fast and easy pickup. Call the Veteran Car Donation Program now.
Are you nearly maxed out on your credit cards? It doesn't matter if you're using your credit cards for fun or to survive. At the end of the month, your statements come in, and you can either pay them or you can't. If you can't, late fees and interest rates get tacked on. And now you're struggling just to make the minimum payment due. Do you feel trapped? Am I talking to you? Good, because I personally researched some companies that can help you. They may be able to reduce your credit card balances by 50% and stop the late fees. If you qualify, please call our special debt hotline number right now for a complimentary free 5-minute consultation. Deal with your credit card problem now before it gets much worse and put more money back in your pocket.